Minions of capital. What do you want?
One more time, Mr. Dross, the Colonel. We need to talk about you killing him.
Petty bourgeois law. This is all you care about, right? The only thing in the world for you types.
A drop of blood in the saliva. That's right. Pile it all on him now. 3 should do it. Maybe 4.
Maybells behind the victim's window. I saw them growing here.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them. So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away.
I haven't seen these flowers anywhere else in Martinaise, only here.
They blossom on the islets before. We fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it. The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
A young woman called Clausia. Ring any bells? Flowers like these were behind her window.
Clausia.
He knows her, but hadn't heard the name.
Yes, Clausia. You hadn't heard her name, had you?
My ears don't reach the city.
You know her, right? She had intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary.
With the victim?
He turns his sight from the whitening field of flowers and falls silent. Then the muscles in his jaw twitch, spasm.
There is a small tremble. Looks like a smile. A crooked smile. Yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst.
I don't need your cooperation. I've got this.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistol. I've seen you prance around with that. Jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
Stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
The lieutenant looks at the weapon demonstratively. I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon.
Good.
The lieutenant takes out his notebook and draws a single line.
This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
The old man does not say more. He just glances into the reeds and then twitches once more.
Like a marionette on some invisible string.
We've done the ballistics. The shot came from this island.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession.
The lieutenant softens his voice.
You've been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part. Just one thing remains unclear. The rifle does not seem to have a scope.
One thing, where's the scope? How did you make the shot without a scope? You have everything else.
Forget about your stupid fucking scope. I don't know where it is. Find it yourself. It's your problem now.
He lost it. He just doesn't know where it is. Forget it. Push on.
You said fascist. You're admitting you killed him?
You're sad for your fascia brother, aren't you? One twig got broken. Now the others are sad.
He waves his hand. There's a twitch, then one more. One more one in his right eye?
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer, armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer, dripping with blood.
He was a soldier too. He was a man.
Beating us to the ground, moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner.
There it is. There's the confession.
Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
He breathes through his flared nostrils.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
So you shot him?
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
You can almost see him squeeze a tear out of his eye. His fists begin to tremble from the anger.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
Hold your breath.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase. And I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth.
He begins to smile.
I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
Then what?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
The lieutenant asks after a second of silence.
Yes.
A single word is all he gives.
And you were looking at them, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The lieutenant takes out his notebook slowly, very slowly.
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
He shrugs, then smacks his lips.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
Why were you looking at them that night?
I'm always looking.
He cocks his head to the side, then turns his eyes to the city. Another tremor passes his right side, lower in intensity.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
And if you don't like it?
You pull the trigger?
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
He will not stop now. These dialectical materialist types never do. Exploit it. You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
You been looking at anything else you haven't liked?
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back. The familiar put, put, put of hatred.
More specifically?
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst.
How come?
Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries.
He points inland.
Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it.
Mr. Clare?
Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class.
Let him finish, do not interrupt.
Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals, like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs.
He keeps shaking his head with sorrow for the sight he missed. Not
The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Koyamoran, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children. That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead. We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores...
follows his ominous mumbling. You cannot make out a single word.
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter. There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people. Might be worth investigating.
There was something about the statue on the roundabout and syphilis?
Syphilis is a disease Philippe III contracted in a whorehouse. The statue is an abomination.
Abomination?
The bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine, cocainum, and monuments of himself. His son, Philip IV, the insane, contracted syphilis in the womb.
He breathes in with a wheeze of hatred. I'll be right back. Okay.
That is technically possible, although Philippe III was not actually syphilitic. He was just mad.
And he still went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government. And those grotesque statues too. Hundreds of them.
But it's still there.
What a keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why?
Say because the king is holy and his statues are indestructible, but mean it ironically.
No. Cynical design cockroaches like you erected a new, ironic version of it. We tore it down with honest, working-class plastic explosives. But there it is again, grinning.
He shakes his head in disgust.
Art is a bourgeois establishment. It's an affront to humanity. Every gallery should be bulldozed, and the artists should all be given 30 years of hard labor in Yekokata.
Wait, it suddenly strikes you. Perhaps it was not as it seemed.
Actually, it was not deconstructed so much as captured in the moment of the explosion.
What are you talking about?
The ancient communard cocks his head. It's not a monument to Philippe III anymore. It's a monument to the monument of Philippe III exploding.
What is this madness?
A dim light comes on in his eyes.
The lieutenant, too, has cocked his head and is looking at you with a strange expression.
It's not madness, it's a monument to what you did, to your program of destatuing Revachol.
So you're saying it's a communist monument now?
Not only.
Yes, and furthermore, the design bureau people are probably left-wing too. They often are.
We did always have the prettiest posters. Maybe you're right. That is how dialectics work. But understand this, art is still a bourgeois institution. And they all should still be sent to Yekokata.
Of course, straight to Yekokata.
Straight to the open pit mine, or cleaning up radiation in Severnaya Zemlya.
Yes. Well,
The ancient communard sizes you both up, not sure what to think of it. That's it for the statue, then. Tell me, Mr. Dross.
the fat union man let them put it there. Corrupt as he is. Probably got a fat check for it too, shared with the law.
Accusations of corruption. Push them aside with a sharp change of topic, officer. Put the heat on him.
You mentioned the Union is social democratic and Mr. Clare is a farce of a social democrat.
Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. Placating the masses.
Disappointment. So personal. He displays a familiarity with the Union's top brass.
Who's a disappointment? Everard Clare?
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation. The smart one.
Doesn't Everard run the Union?
That mobster toad couldn't run a shithouse. He has no political education. His twin, Edgar Clare, that one's been to one of those East Revachol universities. He talks a big game about uprising and alienation and so on.
You've talked to Edgar.
First against the wall with him.
He's stopped poking at the ash now, just shakes his head.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to.
Have you approached him?
I haven't approached anyone. I've hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains.
He points to the path leading to the tower.
Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left. Wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things.
When was this?
20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clears came to power.
What did you talk about?
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzov. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzov. Oh, and charity too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought.
And he let you be here.
Let me be here? The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
Mr. Dross, did you kill the Krenel mercenary for the Clares to incite a riot?
I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
He shakes his head. You said again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
He coughs.
Okay, he didn't do the hang the man for them. But he's insinuating something.
What was the deal between him and Edgar?
The connection comes to you like a splash of cold water. Dark, cold water.
20 years ago, when you met Edgar, the Clares didn't run the Union yet, did they? A sputter from the old man.
He acknowledges it. Here we go. A twist behind the dark bend.
Who did?
That bourgeois cow. Tiffin Holly was her name. Licked the rich man's hand every time he came to town. Never seen a labor leader so hot on mutual cooperation. And money. She liked that too. That Holly was a real bridge builder and a deal maker.
His eyes glistened suddenly with hatred. She was also a woman, wasn't she?
She was. And she was real soft on those money men. Had a Barbara Muskova bag over her shoulder that she liked to bring to work.
And then she just disappeared.
Called in, they say. On the eve of battle. Ran away. Vanished like a piss stain.
He squints and smiles at the black logs.
No, that's not quite it, is it?
Did she? They say her daughter called in, not her personally. But that wasn't really her daughter, was it?
No, I guess it was not.
You could swear you see the embers glow again under his eyes on the dust. Edgar had someone make the call. Why is that, Mr. Dross?
She couldn't make the call herself.
Here it is. The bend in the river.
Why?
Because she was dead.
Just say nothing.
The cow caught a bullet in her right lung. Fell into the canal grasping her tit and drowned. Or bled? Hard to say. It was a sloppy job. And a moving target. She was going home. Waddling. Dressed in yellow. Drunk like she often was. The ruins were black around her, and she had a yellow leather bag under her arm. She tried to cross the canal, heading home to Grand Couronne or Betancourt, someplace like that, where they build those new bâtiments for the people who flourish in the hell around her, and the ruins.
You shot her.
Someone shot her, or maybe the cow just fell. My memory is full of holes. All I know is nothing changed. Not in the material base, not in the hegemony. There was no uprising. Just words. The Union fizzled, sogged. Nothing came of it. Nothing.
Edgar didn't keep his part of the deal.
Huh.
Sputter again, nothing more.
If you were to testify to this, give the RCM something on Edgar, you could walk.
The lieutenant says in a voice even calmer, as if it were nothing at all.
We would strike everything you've done and process you as a POW. You were in a war. You were on assignment. We could even extradite you to the Samaran People's Republic.
A degenerate worker state. Goat shit. No, thank you. I'm Revacholian. My days are short. I will rot away here, in a moral intern cell. I will not testify to anything.
He coughs. But you did do it.
I saw it happen, and I liked it. That's all I have to say. I didn't live and fight for 40 years to end up as a collaborationist. I've heard it on Channel 8, 40 AM, Radio Revachol, late night. Everyone is a blobber in this world. Everyone betrays everyone. They're all already locked up for betrayal. The best ones, the ones with heart, were slaughtered, trampled.
He looks to the city.
There is plenty here to work with once he's in custody. And the lieutenant knows it. He gives you a little nod to proceed.
Alright, we talked about this.
Glad. It's all gone.
What specifically did you not like about what you saw the night of the murder?
Them. Fucking. I didn't like that.
So you were jealous?
Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself. Drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore.
For him to stop reacting to stimuli, to be broken off from the world, cordoned into darkness.
And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
How long had you been watching her?
Since she came to Martinez. I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Feld building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
What do you think she hid there?
Her passport and tickets to Villiers. And from there to Cachet Brut.
He stole them.
In the free state of Seminine, hidden away at the edge of the earth, near the Pale.
This is the hidden boy she told us about. You looked into it?
After she was gone,
He nods.
Did you keep what was in it? When we found the submersible, it was empty.
no. Why would I do that? I didn't need tickets to Villiers. I'd put them back. If I wanted to extort someone, I'd do better.
This implies that he's thought about extorting her. Also, a little inconsistency here. He was surprised to hear her name Clausia before. Would he not have seen it on the documents?
Well, we know that's not her real name. Are you sure? We checked the submersible. There was nothing there.
Why would I need that trash? I'm not going to Villiers.
A strange confusion comes over him from time to time. Some kind of aberration of the nervous system.
You saw her name on the passport, but before when I said her name is Clausia, you didn't seem to recognize it.
It didn't say Clausia in there.
He shakes his head. What did it say her name was in the passport?
It was something. I don't remember. It was dark that morning. I only remember her face on the photo.
Moving on, did you continue watching her after this?
I did. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks, and a body hard and lean and bruised all over, black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook, on the run. Revachol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook? From the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
He's setting it up for you. The bruises. You can't make that out in a scope.
And you could see her bruises through the scope of a rifle?
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
He shakes his silver grey head. How did you get close enough to see the bruises, Mr. Dross?
I have my ways.
A cracked smile appears on his dried white lips. What ways? Tell me.
Not in this lifetime, Dwat.
He waves you off with a cough, his thoughts elsewhere.
This one's gone. Make up somehow. Connect something else. Fast. You lost it. You're a bad detective. Lazy and bad.
No, it's cool. I've already got him. I don't need to be perfect.
No, it's not. Fix this now. Move on extra carefully. Be incredibly minute.
Well, that's not neither extra careful nor incredibly minute, but go on. Did you have feelings for that woman?
There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. It's weakness, I know.
There have been others?
Yes, over the years. It's not unproletarian to feel something.
Was that why you left the dried flowers behind her window?
No.
He starts to shake his head again, a sunflower on a withered stalk. Why then?
I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of her room on the floor, like she does sometimes.
When was this?
The day after I killed him.
And you brought her Maybells?
Yes. I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
You wanted to console her?
Maybe. I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you. If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you.
He wipes his eye.
In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes. One more down.
So, in conclusion, it wasn't about him, it was about her.
Her.
He repeats, staring at the ashes, then the reeds. There's a twitch in the corner of his eye.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days.
She got away, but she let us here first. She figured out someone was watching her from the seafort.
Gone. I knew it. She kept staring into the scope this last week, at the island, like she knew.
He sighs.
She'd look, at night, crying or smoking on the roof, staring right into me. It doesn't matter.
He knew she knows. She was looking at the island, figuring it out, day by day, cigarette by cigarette. The old man has fallen silent, staring at your feet. The burnt logs in the fire are moist from the sea air.
Josef Lilianovich Dros, you're under arrest for the murder of Elise Courtenay.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
Your Wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But...
Do you understand, sir?
No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He looks at the reeds, eyes submerged in growing terror.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
Oh god. Reception. Off we go. Wait.
There it is again. To your north, as it has been since you came to the coast. The reeds whisper, stalks rubbing against each other. But then, in the middle of it,
What?
something completely different. It sounds like a bow, very slowly being drawn against the strings of a violin. A very small violin, made of reeds and rushes.
Maybe there is room for 3 on the boat.
Josh, Kim, do you hear that?
What?
What are you talking about? Is this... really us?
A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence.
It was real all along. Blink. No, let's not blink. What is that?
What are you talking about?
The old man looks at the reeds, then at you. The giant stick insect.
There's nothing there.
He looks confused.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. You feel your legs shaking under you and your gun hand rise instinctively.
There it is! I see it!
Tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds.
Kim, can you see it?
I can see it.
4 simple words, thank God. If he can see, then you're not insane. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence, its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.
The lieutenant whispers, then takes a step toward the giant arthropod.
The creature stands on long stilt-like legs, antennae hanging from its head like a woman's hair, white and curled at the tips. It is no more than 5 steps away from you. Reed-like tufts stick out of its joints. As the insect moves its forearms, it produces a faint hiss, like a reel-to-reel machine spinning after the tape breaks. The hiss is different from the strings you heard before. It says something else in a lower pitch.
Approach carefully.
Slowly, with your breath held, you take 2 small steps toward the phasmid. The creature lets out a series of ultrasonic clicks that swarm around your head like swallows. The tracheal system on the creature's abdomen expands in front of you to take in and expel air. It's smelling you. Hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. You're right below it now, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. The head of the creature is crowned by reeds, and its eyes are like small droplets of water.
Raise your hand slowly.
The insect stops its stridulation, seeming to observe you. Below its crown of reeds, little pinprick eyes detect motion, glittering. The world stands still around you. Suddenly, there is silence.
Raise the other hand too.
As you do, the invertebrate comes to life, its limbs moving independent of each other, as if each has a mind of its own. They are white, like stalks of porcelain, knitting above you, praying to you.
That's right. Pray.
Unwittingly, the insect continues its stridulations. As it moves, tuft-like structures, still pretending to be plants, rustle along on its joints.
It's smelling me.
Maybe it is real, the pheromone.
The lieutenant's mouth is agape.
About now, he is ready to believe in anything. The insect's head is crowned with reed-like scales, the shape of seed heads. They rustle as the air moves. The ventricles at its abdomen continue expanding, like lunglets, breathing you in, your sour, greasy semiochemicals on the breeze.
Hello, I'm Harry. I don't really know who I am.
No reply. A total ancient silence comes from its mouth, along with what appears to be some kind of foam. The stridulations of its limbs continue all around you.
Stand on your tiptoes and look more closely.
You were right. Little bubbles form on the mouth parts of the creature, on its segmented lower lip. It looks to be foaming, slowly. The foam is white, then yellowish. The faintest smell, like you've never felt before, like burnt roses.
Kim, it's foaming.
Careful, it may be poisonous.
The lieutenant watches you apprehensively.
The foam slowly turns a darker shade, like burnt caramel, as the insect moves its mouth parts, masticating. The little bubbles begin to burst, one by one, letting out that same smell, like summer burning.
Tell me, what are you doing?
I exist.
I exist too.
Tell me what it's like for you.
It's wunderbar.
Yes, holy is the Lord of hosts, and all the earth is filled with his glory. Now, I will tell you what it's like for me. For me, It is a series of half-lit images, a kind of darkness being intruded upon, transient, dim, moist.
Intruded upon by what?
Shapes of plants and animals, and internal sensations. A swarm of sounds, tiny vibrations on the inside of my forearms. All speak of complexities totally beyond my understanding. I am at the end of a narrow funnel, weightless, so light, it only feels like something to be me. In truth, perhaps I'm nothing. I certainly do not have a soul, and if I did, it would never ache.
You're the type of animal I would like to be.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Why do you ask?
Sometimes, when molting, I regrow a lost limb. One time something went wrong, and a small leg replaced a missing antenna.
That's cool.
No, the leg tried to move around independently, making it hard to walk.
You don't have a foot there now.
Yes, thankfully someone ate it. The next time I molded, I grew an antenna again.
I am a detective.
So am I. I was born to detect sucrose rewards and semiochemicals. What were you born to detect?
Also that.
I can also detect pheromones. The ones on you tell me that you will not beat me, and that I will benefit from your closeness. In short, I love you.
Okay. Is this a dream? What is happening?
No, you are awake. I am real. Light is forming me. This is real.
I thought Lillian would be a female love interest. Apparently it's an Insulinian phasmid. I'll take it. Where does this come from? All this around us, the world.
Not even the birds know that. Not even the water lily.
Then all we can do is beat our fists against it, day after day, with no answer?
You can also eat it. If it's a leaf, you can put it in your mouth. Yum yum. Or read.
What exactly are you?
I am an unknown species of the order Phantasmodia, endemic to the Insulindian Insula. For the last 350 years, I have hidden in plain sight, masquerading as the reeds, molding, cloning myself, unfolding at night to play with trash bins and boys. No, no one believed I exist. Almost no one. Until you came, detective, dripping of blood that smells like strawberries, across the calm sea, the first in 1,000 years.
It's not what's written there, but okay.
I have stayed hidden through 4 forms of government and 2 scientific revolutions, until I was accidentally discovered by a detective of the citizen militia in Revershaw, district of Martinez, March 51.
Are you the miracle?
No, you are the miracle.
It was you, coming from the west, from the whirling. You were coming.
How?
The moral of our encounter is, I am a relatively medium life form, while you are extreme, all-engulfing madness. A volatile simian nervous system, ominously new to the planet. The Pale too came with you. No one remembers it before you. The Nidarians do not. The radially symmetrics do not. There is an almost unanimous agreement between the birds and the plants that you are going to destroy us all.
Wait, what is the Pale?
It is a nervous shadow cast into the world by you, eating away at reality. A great, unnatural territory. Its advent coincides with the arrival of the human mind.
I don't have that kind of power.
You're a violent and irrepressible miracle. The vacuum of cosmos and the stars burning in it are afraid of you. Give me enough time, you will wipe us all out and replace us with nothing. Just by accident.
How?
We suspect it will be something like the oxygen holocaust that wiped out anaerobic life 2.6 billion years ago, when organisms first started breathing. Only much worse.
Instead of air, you exhale thoughts. There are no trees that eat thoughts.
Worse how?
Everything your eyes touch goes back there, behind the nose mirror. What if you blink? Are we still here? Please don't blink. What if he misplaces us all one day, or just forget?
Have I always thought this way?
No, you're only thinking it now. This is a revelation.
I will be extra careful not to blink, stinky insect. Don't worry.
Please be. Or one day, one of you will close your eyes and sigh, and open them to see that none of this ever existed.
Kim, am I having a violent epileptic seizure?
It doesn't look like that, no.
What does it look like?
You're just staring at it.
He whispers. And I think I'm having a vision about the final fate of mankind.
Okay. Is it somehow related to the case?
Sort of.
I think we should take the picture, and then you should back away from the unstudied species.
I have to say goodbye now. I have no more thoughts. That was all.
No, there is one more.
Of all the creatures I've met, you're the kindest.
Thank you. I also have one more thing to say to you. That woman. Turn from the ruin. Turn and go forward. Do it for the working class.
I will.
She was middle class. It doesn't take a 3-meter stick insect to tell you that.
Okay, Kim. Take the picture.
Okay.
With a slow ring of metal, the lieutenant slides the lens open and raises it to eye level.
There is no change in the insect's motion while it's being aimed by the camera. It remains fixated on you.
In 3. If it moves, you jump back. I'll shoot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The shrill flash of the camera cuts the air like the blade of a sword. The phasmid freezes in its bright light. Head turned toward the lieutenant, hypnotized by the flash. It stands frozen before you.
I got it.
You hear the lieutenant whisper as the creature's shape develops onto photo paper in his hand. A polychrome ghost of white streaks against the reeds and the sky, and you as a shadow before it.
Immortalized.
Carefully pet its scythe-like forearm.
The limb before you is incredibly light, like eggshell. It's much lighter than a reed. You feel a soft push could tip the creature over. Its hollow exoskeleton collapsing.
Run your hand up the slender limb. Fire.
A small shudder passes the creature's arm. High above you, its black pearl eyes still glisten, mesmerized by the light passing its nervous system. There is some kind of countdown happening as it slowly processes the overwhelming brightness of the signal. The invertebrate is regaining control.
Slowly reach out and touch the creature's whisker.
The antennae hang from a great height. With your hand shaking, you barely touch the tip of the left whisker. On contact, the chitin curls into a spiral, like the tip of a poison ivy. Its touch on your fingertip feels cold, ticklish. It is surprisingly delicate, the curly end of the whisker, like a young vine. It's even a bit wet.
Be careful, detective. It's moving.
Look at your finger.
You were right. It glistens with some kind of moisture. The creature in front of you stays frozen.
Lick it.
It tastes like sugar, very faint. The anthropod towers above you, tufts of reeds pointing from limb and head alike. Odorless, mostly comprised of water.
We got it.
Another shudder pulses through the creature's limbs. It jolts back to life, like a record continuing where it left off, in a swaying, praying motion. Even the small black pearls of its eyes do not stray from you.
Disengage slowly.
As you're turning away, The phasmid mirrors your movements, stepping on the water, the long limbs carrying its feather weight without breaking its surface. And just like that, it's gone, skating away across the sea's calm mirror like a skipping stone, leaving nothing but circles on the water. And something under it, in the place it stood, bobbing there, among the reeds, a collection of items.
It's gone.
Lieutenant looks north with his hand raised to his brow. What's that in the reeds?
Looks like a nest of some sort. We should have a look.
It can walk on water?
Apparently, yes. Like a water strider. Only, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
What now?
What now?
The old man behind you repeats suddenly. He's put his hand into the ash. It's dirty and black.
Our suspect is not looking so good. We need to check on him.
We do, but first of all...